Welcome to Storycomic Presents, where we interview amazing storytellers and artists. This is episode 153. I'm your host, Barney Smith of Storycomic.com, and we're excited to have with us the internationally celebrated book author and autism awareness advocate, Nicole Latimer. Nicole,
Hi.
how you doing?
I am doing fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great, and congratulations on publishing your book. It came out in January, I believe, so
Yes.
it's been out for a couple months now so far. And looking at it, it's pretty cool. I saw you've done some book signings. You went to the local library, and you've also been able. So it says in there that this is going to be a one of many in a series. Is that true?
Yes, it is. This is book number 1, but book number 2, I'm almost finished writing it.
Okay.
Yes, it's very exciting. And that book 1 and 2 will be Learning to Sign with Rennon for the series. And I actually have another series that I want to
Wow.
do. And that's Rennon's Adventures, where his imagination comes to life. So I'm really excited. I have the first book of that series almost completed and ready to ship out to my illustrator and my publisher.
Wow, that's exciting stuff. And those you have, as we're talking before we went on the air, you're mother of 5, living up in northern Vermont, and you. So the people, some people who listen to this that might be looking at wanting to, really curious about your journey and how you started. Do you want to kind of give people a little bit of a background on how you were able to sit up and create Need a Friend, Learning to Sign with Rennon, and the inspiration behind that?
Absolutely. So Rennon is my son. He's 6 years old. And at the age of 2, he was diagnosed with ASD. And it's been quite the adventure with him to get where we are today with services and starting school. And there's been,
Mm.
a few struggles. So he was definitely my inspiration as to why I started this. I wanted to bring awareness that about feelings, and even though he can't verbally express them, that he does have feelings, and everyone needs to be considerate of those feelings is to any child that especially can't verbalize them.
Mm.
So yes, he is my definitely my inspiration, and it's been a rough road at times. It's not always glitter and sparkles, but later on those books will eventually come, and I'm hoping at some point to do like a mom blog about the struggles that I've had to face as a mom with a child with disabilities. No, and obviously not frustration with him, but everything that we've had to go through to get where we are today.
Mm. Mm. And so what made you decide to make it as a medium, as a children's book instead of something else? What made you kind of move towards wanting to do it as a children's book, some of this advocacy work?
Well, so it did come to my attention that one day when Rennon was at school, he had a hard time transitioning from the cafeteria. And unfortunately, he had to experience some older children not being so nice to
Mm.
talking about him. And my other son, that is in the older grades, was listening in on that. So I knew I had to get my word out, but that's where I wanted to make Rennon the main character. And like
Right.
he is telling the stories. He is like reading to the readers or to the listeners that are sitting in. So it was just really important to make Rennon the main character, make him be heard even though he can't be heard
Mm.
physically.
And so when this kind of inspiration hit you, did you how quickly did it take to kind of form a book script for this?
Oh goodness, probably the day that it had happened, I was looking at him and I was so heartbroken. I was so heartbroken from the things that I have heard, you know, that what was being said about him. And I just started writing. I just started jotting down ideas, and we do a lot of the emotions. He receives ABA, applied behavior analysis, services here at home twice a week. And I remember the day that we were learning with his BI that comes to the house, and we were doing the signs of sad and happy and the angry and the surprised. And I just put myself in that position of, I even though he probably didn't realize what was being said, I can just imagine any other child that does, that they feel sad. And so I was just jotting down ideas, and the first thing that came to my mind was his feelings. So honestly, I wrote that book within 3 days time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, book written out, did you ever, talking to him to say, was there any, like, talking to him, say, what do you think of this, having him kind of be a part of the process at all?
Well, I just know that he comes up to me a lot when he's sad, and he'll sign the sign sad to me. And emotions are really important to him. He feeds off from other people's emotions. He very smart little boy. And he can tell if somebody else is sad or angry, and he'll come up to you and he'll do the face and the sign. So that's where he knows the signs. He tells me when he feels sad, angry, happy. That's where I just had to put it into a book, and that's where book number 1 it was just completed just like that.
Right. And so you wrote out the draft. What did you do? And this is something that, a lot of people be, watching or listening to say,
Yeah.
hey, Nicole, I got a great story, but what do I do with it? So after you put it together, what were your next steps?
Well, I wrote the book and I joined a group, and this group has helped me tremendously. It's Alexandra Torrey's Inkers, and it's a Facebook group. And I was just, chiming in and reading everyone's comments, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like, I'm just gonna throw it out there. I need to find an illustrator. So everybody was like, oh well, giving me recommendations. And that's where I found this brilliant lady. She's amazing. She's a really good friend. Her name is Christina, and she is the owner of Captured by Casey Designs.
Okay.
And she, right from the get-go, she was like, all right, like, what's your vision? Let's bring this to life. I found her and I sent her my manuscript, and she found me GWN Publishing, and it just went from there. And
Wow.
so what I can recommend for anyone if they want to write a book is, start, go to, like the small, like the groups.
Right.
And this was an authors group. And of course I was thinking, oh, all I have is just paper here. I can't really consider myself an author. It hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to go as far as it has. I just thought, okay, I'm just probably going to write this down, then what? So, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that think that, but I started there. And then people were like, oh, I recommend this person and that person. And you really got to find the person that you really connect with. I mean, I really did not think I was going to write more than one book. I just wanted to get his feelings out on paper, and like in everyday life with the feelings. But once it just started growing, I knew once I connected with Christina, and she's like, we're going to do this. I can help you. I have, resources. Because I tell you, I could not have done it without her. I
Wow.
really would not have known.
And so where did you did they also connect you up with the illustrator as well?
Yes. So Christina
Yeah.
knew the sorry, it's Vajehe
Yeah.
Galmazari. I don't want to torture that. Sorry. And she is the one that created Rennon. And she did an amazing job. Like the moment that I got sent the draft of Rennon's character, I'm like, this is it. This is him.
Mm,
And I was just so amazed with her illustrations. And I have an amazing team. I really do. I am so excited to see what the future holds, because with Lil from GWN and Christina and Vajihi, sorry,
mhm.
and I even have Caitlin from Big Time Media. I just have such a huge support system. And I recently just met John Masalonis from PR from the Heart,
Mm,
and he has done some PR work for me as well. So with my team, they're behind me every step of the way. They check in with me. They've helped me tremendously. I really owe them a lot.
right. And
Amazing.
so and so with that said, you put it out. What would be some tips that you would give for um, authors on how do you create that community of interest for your book?
Well, definitely like reach out to people.
Right.
Like I remember the first message that I sent Christina, I was like, you were recommended as an illustrator and she does amazing design work. And I'm glad I did, because I mean, that's how I got where I am right now. But I highly recommend my illustrator. If anyone's doing a children's book, I think she does amazing work. I've seen her Instagram page, and I'm just like, you could totally tell, like, this lady has talent.
Right.
I definitely highly recommend Casey, or Christina from Casey Designs, and my publisher as well.
Mm,
I just reach out to people that can really help you and want to hear your vision. You've got to be able to tell them what you are looking for them to bring your story to life. And this is exactly what they did for me.
right. So where do you see yourself now as like a children's book author to say, um, how important is it that you stay being an autism advocate as compared to being a children's book author, in the sense that if you had two ideas of one saying, hey, Nicole, would you be able to help us out with a something that might be out of the children's book genre, say like a some study book about
Mhm.
autism, and we needed your input, as compared to someone saying, hey, Nicole, can you help us write this book about a lost puppy, for instance? So do you see yourself more, and in other words, do you see yourself more as being a children's book author or being an autism advocate when you write these books?
Well, I feel that I've always been an autism advocate. I mean, I've
Mm,
helped several young women, young mothers that have children with disabilities. I've helped them find resources. Um, I'm a very outspoken mom. I make sure that I do fight for everything that my son and all my other children also need.
right.
As far as other books, I would always be open to that. Um, I just didn't feel like there was many books out there. Yes, there is books out there on autism and children that struggle with disabilities. But Rennon is the reader. And, I have had several people come up to me that they've never seen a children's book like that before.
Wow.
Like, it
Yeah.
was really like down to earth. It wasn't things that, children couldn't understand. So, that touched my heart that they really could feel his character in the book.
Mm.
As far as how I see myself in the future, I it's possible that I will be writing books out of the autism community, but right now that's where my main focus is, to get more awareness and to get the series out.
Right. And so also April is Autism Awareness Month. Um,
Correct.
and are you where do you see where do you see helping that with the marketing aspects for the Need a Friend book?
Well, I haven't really thought much about that. I do know that they have an autism walk
Hmm.
in St. Albans, Vermont, but I heard that it might be in May or June this year.
Okay.
So it might not actually be in April. I was asked if I would like to set up a table and to sell some books. And if I do that, I do plan on donating some profit to the Autism Walk as well. So.
Right. And, and what do you see? Because I know that the old adage is, if you meet one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. Being it's so, um, it's so challenging for people to see someone with autism and say, I know exactly what it is, because it's so different. It's also so unique depending on the person. Do you is there a piece of that advocacy and education on when you discuss that in the book? Is that discussed in the book about how autism looks for everyone?
Not in this story. This story is based through Rennon's eyes.
Right.
So, but I have had people come up to me and say that, their child read it and they felt that Rennon was just like them.
Wow. Okay. Good.
So, which, was so heartwarming. And, that's the thing. That's what I want, is I want a child to read my book and like, oh, well, I need a friend too, or he's just like me. And
Right.
a story came to me that a lady had purchased my book, and when she had given it to her son, who is also nonverbal, and he looked at the cover of Need a Friend and he pointed at it and then pointed at himself. Like, he
Hmm.
felt that connection. And I lost it. I started
Wow.
crying and I'm like, but that's what I wanted children to know. Like, there are other people out there that are just like me.
Right. And so are you looking at are you looking at also, with this is any advice from teachers or stuff, like for supplemental activity books or anything to go along with this as well?
I haven't quite reached there yet, but it's definitely possible. I know with the series of the Learning to Sign with Rennon, I want to be able to bring everything that he has been taught,
Mm,
and I want to share that. So everybody learns differently,
right.
and not probably not the way Rennon signs would be the way that another child signs. That's why it's basically like through Rennon, as he's like the teacher in the signing.
Right.
So it was just very important to show how Rennon reacts. And it's probably not how another child reacts or signs, but I know in future books that they will they'll be you'll see the similarities of the signing and trying to express something, and Yeah.
And I'm kind of curious too, as like as we said at the top of the show, you have 5 children. Is there any? They're older. Rennon, he's your youngest. Is there any playful banter? Think, Mom, are you gonna write a book? Are you gonna write a book about everybody, or is there? Do I get a turn or anything like that happening?
Yeah. So actually it's a Christmas book that I had written for the Rennon's Adventure series.
Yeah.
And my son Jackson, who is the 14-year-old, he is actually a head elf
Okay.
in my story. So, and my daughter is also in that story. So, the, everybody at some point is going to be in one or both of the series.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
So I would like my Christmas story to come live between October and November.
okay. All right.
So I'm really excited about that. And that's actually a rhyming Christmas story. So it's a little different than the Learning to Sign with Rennon series. And I did find myself a little bit of a tug of war for a second when I was trying to, write that book because I kept referring to Need a Friend. But I got to remember that this is his imagination. Like I can watch him play and his imagination, everything is such an adventure when he plays. It's just remarkable. So it was actually around Christmas time when I had thought of the book. And when I was watching him play, I'm like, I'm going to do a Christmas story. And so I was just so excited. So I can't wait to get that one out. But
So
yes.
when you initially wrote the script for Need a Friend, was it did you nail it the first time, or did you have people kind of proofread it or edit it and say, hey, Nicole, I would change this or I'd move this, or how much help did you get through your friends that were helping you produce it?
So I actually didn't need much editing. Um, so I did find an editor in Canada,
Mm.
and I sent it to her at first, and she sent it back, and it was just a couple little edits. And then she said it was, good to go, and that's when I had sent it off to Christina, and I was surprised. I was thinking, oh my goodness, this is going to come back to me. I'm going to have to change this and change that. But it's almost exactly how I had wrote it. Like there wasn't like any like maybe a couple of words taken out. I probably didn't need in there, but other than that,
Right,
no changes, which I like that because it was exactly how I wanted it.
right. And so it was written out. How much say other than looking at the sketch,
Yep.
other than looking at the sketch, um, were you involved in the whole process of how the pages were laid out, or at what point did they say, "Don't worry, Nicole, we got this. This is what we do," or how much did you say, "Tweak this, do this"?
There was so much transparency with my team, and that's what I absolutely loved.
Hmm.
Christina would send me drafts of my illustrations from my illustrator, and she'd ask me, like, I want you to look this over. Let me know if you want to change anything around on the pages. Um, I looked it over and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like fantastic.
Hmm.
There was a in one of the pages where Dad is going raw and playing with Rennon. I said, well, Dad needs suspenders. Dad wears Dad wears suspenders. He's got dark hair. He's a bigger guy. I said, so we need to definitely. I want that nailed down. The illustration of Rennon with the snow globes. That's actually everything in this book is real.
Hmm.
And that's where I want to keep everything very nonfiction on the series, Learning to Sign with Rennon, because the snow globes, I'm a Christmas fanatic, and I had my snow globes out for a very long time, and he always wants to grab them, and I'm like, no, Rennon, nope, we're not touching the snow globes, and everything to his beanie bears, with him lining them up on the couch, everything when he cries, when he sees a sad story. a movie that he watches. And, you know, it's funny because the illustrator, well, Christina had asked me, what did I want in the TV screen on that one page of the illustration? And I said, well, he really cries at the end of Frozen 2 when Olaf melts. But of
Yeah.
course, you know, I'm thinking we probably can't have the actual Olaf character. So I'm like, put a snowman in there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so everything, like they were very transparent, asking me what I wanted to change. Are you sure? Do you want to look this over again? And it was just to the point, I mean, I just trust them so much. I'm like, you guys know me by now. Like, you know, with colors and everything, you know, and um the character in the beginning at the chalkboard with Rennon actually resembles his BI, his behavioral interventionist at his school,
Cool.
and her name is Miss Meg. So I had asked Christina if she could please have shoulder length brown hair, kind of on the thin side. Well, not kind of, sorry, thin side. And so, you know, because she's with him all day long. So I
Mm.
wanted, you know, I wanted to make the characteristics as close as possible. So, but yeah, they did an amazing job.
Wow. So your next, so are you kind of on a roll here, Nicole? So are you,
I
do
am.
you have kind of like a schedule of you want to make sure you put out at least, one book a year, two books a year? How is this working for you?
My goal is 2 books a year.
Okay.
And so, but need a friend, that was like, that was the one to get me started.
Mm.
I'm doing 2 books a year starting now.
Oh, wow.
So even though Need a Friend was out in January, I'm gonna do what I want to do a book for each series. So there will be a book out this year, second book for the Learning to Sign with Rennon, and there will be a first book October or November for Rennon's Adventures.
Okay.
That's
Wow.
my goal.
Wow. Okay. And so feel like, I guess from a planning perspective, there is going to be a point where Brandon's going to get beat. You'll be like 10, 11. Like, are you going to, is he going to be aging in the book, or is he going to stay in the perpetual 5-year-old?
No, he will be aging.
Oh,
And
really? Okay.
yes, yeah, he
Yeah.
will be aging, and his life will be like documented in the Learning to Sign with Rennon story. So the second book for the Learning to Sign with Rennon series is Time to Go to School.
Okay.
So that's the second book that is almost completed,
Wow.
and it talks about his day at school and about him having someone with him at all times. And because I'm sure there's a lot of children at school, like, you know, question that, like, why does he get to have somebody with him all the time? Why does he
Hmm.
get to bring a stuffed animal? You know, children are resilient, they have so many questions,
Right.
and that's where I just want to put, you know, everything, you know, in his struggles too.
Right.
You know, there's days he doesn't want to go to school. Tells me not going, not going. Um, so it's I'm so excited about it. I really am. I think about my books and everything is like up here. I have to like jot it down on paper. I bring my little notebook, and I'm so proud of my little journal.
Hmm.
And I have friends that write, and they have like, you know, they always on their laptop, and I'm old school. I can't, I only use the computer for when I'm ready to put it from here to there and ship it out. But this is my baby. It's got my ideas and my books, and it's gonna go big. That's my plan. That's my goal.
And so do you, are you, so for your other book series, is it the same illustrator, or are you going with a different illustrator?
Oh no, I'm sticking with my team.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I already told them they're very well much stuck with me,
Right.
and so no, I started this journey with them. I plan on continuing it until I can't no more. And I like I said, I wouldn't be here without them. I absolutely love Rennon's character and like everything about his picture. Like, I mean, I can show him the cover and I'm like, who is this? And he'll sign. We do this as an R, like
Yeah.
Rennon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's right. It's you.
Yeah.
So, no, I absolutely love how they created him.
Right.
I'm going to stick with him.
Right. Wow. Okay. That's really cool.
Well,
And
thank you.
is it, and are all of them going to be the, as you say, like your other series? Are they all you're going to continue with that rhyming pattern as well?
Well, I'm not. Well, we'll see. The rhyming thing, you kind of like put yourself to the test when you're like, I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So the, the other the other book for the series, the Christmas book, I had to. Now that's a different story. I had to go back quite a few times and do drafts and I was showing a friend and she's like, how can you even read this? I'm like, I can't. It looks like a complete mess, but I know exactly. I mean, I got like arrows that say, okay, like 4 pages in, and somebody else would not have a clue how to read that. But I'm just like, no, page one, and then page two is probably like 18 pages back. So,
Right.
yeah, yeah, no, yeah, I get so excited because it's remarkable. I really thought that I was gonna probably just write one book and be done.
Mm,
And then when I had spoke to Lil from GWN, and she had wrote me in an email, and she's like, "You have more than just a book here. You have a business." And I was like, yeah, okay, get out of here. We're like, what? And then I'm just like, ideas were like just flying. And I'm like, I got to run with this. I really
right.
do.
Do you?
And
That's a good point. Are you going to have any? Is there like any pieces that are kind of like accessories to the book, like bookmarks and stickers, and maybe
we
some
are
other things
working
that
on
help with that?
that.
Yeah.
Yes, we're working on that. Christina is, she's looking into doing crayons and coloring pages.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah. And, or stickers. And I would also like to do reusable shopping bags with
Mm,
Rennon's character on it, or like a mug or t-shirts. And yeah, I think the sky's the limit, really.
right.
And I even had a Rennon stuffy doll created.
Oh, oh, really?
Yeah, and I actually had him created because I wanted to bring him to my book signings. And when I had shared that on social media, I've been getting messages like, well, where can I purchase a Rennon doll? And I'm like, oh, well, I just ordered one. He's going to be 16 inches tall. Like, I
Right.
was just, wanted to bring him. So when people came to the book signings or when I did book readings at schools,
Right.
children get a sense more of the book when they get to hold something, of like, oh, he's in the book, he's the character. So that's why, but you never know.
Right.
You never know. Maybe
Right.
someday there'll be a Rennon doll on the shelf.
Right. Yeah.
That's my boy. And that puppet is actually belongs to the school, and I that's where I got the idea from. When I had got that sent to me, I was like, oh my gosh, it looks just like him.
Right.
And I was like, I wonder if I could get one of the like a doll created. And I had sent the uh, the picture of his character from the book with his arms out, and it was approved to get made. So I'm waiting for him, but I'm excited.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm really excited to do like the crayons and the picture pages and the coloring pages, so I can also like donate them to schools, the library, and yeah, just get it out there.
And then part of the publishing house, they help you with like these with these social media posts here as well, or
Yes, and Kate from Big Time Media,
mm,
she collaborated with Christina, and
okay,
Rennon has his own Instagram page, and they help monitor that, and they help. I've not really been a big Instagram person before now, and I mean I try to get on there, and I'm like, I can't figure this thing out. I don't understand what you're supposed to do.
right,
And thank goodness that they took the reins and got it going. And um, yeah, so I post as much as I can. I like to
yeah.
post about his real life, like when he goes to the doctors, and show people like how he is and who he is. And
And so, and and so what's next for you? Are you for now that the summertime is kind of coming up? Is there a lot of any shows or book signings that you wanted to talk about?
well, I do have a few book readings at the Alberg School that I'm really
Okay.
excited about. I was asked if I would do a book reading to Rennon's kindergarten class, and then Elizabeth Dobson, which is a third grade teacher at the Alberg School, great friend of mine. She had also reached out if I could read to the third, fourth, and fifth grades. So I'm really excited about that. Um, I haven't thought about doing any like book tours or anything. We're pretty much low key. We have
Mm,
we have some farm animals, so I don't like to go too far from the
yeah.
house. I just this is our happy place.
Right.
So as far as like traveling to do book signings, maybe at some point, but I do want to like locally. I'm totally good with locally though.
Right. Do you have? And I guess my other question for you too is then, based off of the impetus of the reason why you did this, how's his Brendan doing in school now? Is how are his classmates?
Wonderful with him.
Yeah.
And I had talked to his teacher, and she said that he's such a joy to have in class. And when he's
Right.
not there due to, not feeling well, or some days are off, and he struggles to wanting to go to school, the motivation,
Mm,
they say that his friends miss him,
right.
and he is a joy to have in class.
Yeah.
But um, he has a really great support team at the
Mm,
school. It's one of the best teams that he has ever had, from OT to SLP to his early educator to his BI, Miss Meg. Oh my goodness, I can't. This lady, she takes Rennon from morning till the time he's ready to come home from school. And I about imagine how the day is very exhausting sometimes. And she does amazing with him. They're really, really good friends. And that's my daughter Holden
yeah.
with Rennon. And so, and his team is amazing. It
Mm,
really is. And
right.
our principal at our school, Beth Hemingway, she has really gone above and beyond to get Rennon his
Right.
services that he needs. And it's just so nice to have the support
Mm,
behind because no parent should fight for support for their child, no
right.
matter if it's an IEP, a 504, or if it's helping math or helping any subject. And when you have a team that says, we're gonna get him right where he needs to be. And he was just evaluated for a um, an ACC device, an
Okay.
augmentative
I've got
communication. Yes.
communication. Yeah.
So he will have one of those in May. So that will be his new voice. I'm really excited, and we we'll see how that goes, and maybe that will be also in a book as well.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I do want to shout out and give recognition because there's two more people on his team that I have absolutely adored working with, and it's Courtney and Sherry from his ABA. And he would he would succeed. And, we do everything we can to help Rennon, but these two ladies have helped him tremendously. Like, exactly where he is right now, I want to say, is because of them, for teaching me, teaching him, me sitting in on his sessions at home and watching and observing. And that's how I learn. I learn from watching them with him. And it's just remarkable. And his team is just fantastic.
So, what would you give for tips for people that are wanting to write their first children's book?
Well, find an inspiration. Because if I had to sit here right now and think, okay, well, you know what, I'm going to write a book about a squirrel. I, yeah, I probably could come up with some really cool things about the squirrel, but you really do need that inspiration of, what do you want your readers to know about the squirrel? So it's, you gotta find, you like, I'm just like, yeah, like, even just talking about a squirrel right now, I have nothing. Like, it's completely like blank. So that's where it's like, Rennon was my inspiration.
Right.
My other four children, they're amazing, and I can write books about them. I think it's that I live it every day, right? So I'm taking my experience that I live every day and I'm putting it in a book.
Right.
And he's the real superstar. I'm just the lady behind the pen. He's
Right.
the one that lives every day with, his struggles and his emotions. And I'm telling you, he's my heart right there.
Right.
And, so you got to find your inspiration and just start jotting it down. Like, I bring my notebook everywhere. I could be at a red light and something comes to my mind. And I'm okay. Yeah. Or like, oh, where's my book? But yeah, just find your inspiration. And if you've got something to say and you want to say it, put it down and
Right.
say,
So
I didn't know
write
people were
what you
going to
know.
take my book and go with it. And they did.
Right. That's great. So if people are interested in buying the book, where can they find the book?
It is available online at Barnes and Noble, Amazon, and Walmart.com.
Okay.
It's also like Amazon California too. And I check, periodically, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's in China, it's in Brazil, it's in Australia. It's like, oh my gosh, like, I did not expect this. And, and I get emails when someone does buy, a book from where, and I'm like, I just sold a book in Brazil. Like, what? Like, this is fantastic. I just, or in Canada even. And, I'm just thinking, like, wow, I just thought, like, I was going to donate to, like, the local library and schools. Like,
Right.
I didn't really know all this, but it's fantastic. It really, it's a thrill to see that my book is in the hands of children all
Right.
over.
Right.
And there's going to be plenty more.
Right. Well, congratulations, Nicole.
Thank you.
I'm so excited, and you're gonna have to come back on when you talk
Yes,
about Rennon's adventures. You're gonna have to come back on, and we'll have to talk about that book too.
absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
so excited. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much. We gonna hitting our hour mark now, so thank you so much for
Okay.
coming on, and congratulations again. And I'm excited to chat more with you later and learning more about your other books as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. is. It's because you're right on the. See, just to be, to be clear, when I put there, like I said, the internationally celebrated because you're right next to Canada. See, so it's technically true. I put internationally celebrated children's book author. See.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. All right,
I've actually even sold a book in Brazil. I was like, what?
See? International. You're an international author.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Here we go.